Welcome to the Elyria City School District Board of Education meeting for Wednesday, April 21st, 2021. I now call this meeting to order. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Bax?
Here.
Mr. Alec?
Here.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Here. Here.
Ms. Karstafen?
Here.
And Mrs. Seguin?
Here.
Thank you. As soon as the flag is shown, would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Please join me.
I pledge
allegiance
to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you, Madam Treasurer. Introductions. I would like to introduce my fellow board members first. I have present tonight Mr. Greg Ellick, Mr. Mike Gebhardt, Mrs. Elaine Seguin, and Vice President Mr. Jim Bax, and I am Ms. Ann Karstafen, your president. And also we have our treasurer, Mrs. Joy Clickinger, and our superintendent, Mrs. Ann Sloss. Thank you. At this time, we're going to move quickly down past the board recognition, no presentation, no visitors comment. We're going to go to board member discussion items. Are there any board member discussion items tonight?
No, I don't have any.
Seeing that there are none, we will move on to F, which is the meeting minutes. The minutes have been posted. Hopefully you've had a chance to read them. If so, may I please have a motion to approve the Board of Education record of proceeding for the meeting of April 14th as detailed in enclosure F1.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Ellick. May I please have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gebhardt. Are there any questions? No question. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Alec?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mrs. Seguin?
Aye.
And Ms. Karstafen?
Aye, thank you. Motion carries. Now G is treasurer action items.
Yes, thank you, Ms. President. And the only thing I have this evening is the financial reports for the month of March. And they include the bank recs, the investment reports, and they're found in enclosure G1.
Thank you. May I please have a motion to approve the items recommended by the treasurer as presented?
Move to approve the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Bax. May I please have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Elaine Seguin. Are there any questions? No questions. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mrs. Seguin?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Alec?
Aye.
And Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Madam Treasurer, we have H, which is treasurer other.
Yes, this is a routine motion. It's to approve the tax rates as established by the Lorain County Budget Commission.
Okay, thank you. May I please have a motion to approve the items recommended by the treasurer as presented?
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Gebhardt. May I please have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ellick. Are there any questions? No questions. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Yes, one moment, please. Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ellick?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mrs. Seguin?
Aye.
And Ms. Karstafen?
Aye, thank you. Motion carries. Next, we have a treasury report. Do you have a report for us tonight, Madam Treasurer?
The only thing I want to say is that we did make it through the conversion. It, of course, didn't go without any hiccups, but we made it through it, and we are working on the new software. We're in the middle of the payroll, and we're starting to get the flow of it. So
Very good. Very good.
it's been exciting, yeah.
Thank you. Very good.
Did you receive an award last week?
Yes, I did. I received the Auditor Estates Award. They are going to be at the May 5th agenda, or on the May 5th agenda to present it, the Auditor
Thank
Estate.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Thank you.
It
Thank you
is,
very much.
and we were the only one in Nathan Manning's district to receive that award, which was
Wow.
Wow.
exciting.
Very good. Excellent. Moving on, we have K, which is superintendent action items.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, just so you know, in case you have an older version, we had to do a last-minute change and split the two items, so I'm going to read them separately and ask for a motion. The first one is for the approval of the overnight field trip for the Elyria High robotics team, and that would be the end of the first, so we'll call for a motion on that one first.
Okay. May I please have a motion to approve the overnight field trips of the superintendent action items?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Jim Bex. May I please have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Mike Gephardt. Are there any questions? No question? Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Bax,
Yes.
Mr. Gebhardt,
Aye.
Mr. Elick,
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin,
Aye.
and Ms. Karstafen.
Aye, thank you. Motion carries. Thank you. Madam Superintendent, back to you.
So the second action item is for, we start to see the things that are really exciting for our graduates, but this is the early college list. We have 39 graduates this year, and it's to approve the graduation list for the 2021 early college graduates. So I ask for that to be approved.
Thank you. May I please have a motion to approve the second half of the treasurer action, the superintendent action items?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Elick. May I please have a second?
Elaine will second.
Second by Mrs. Segwin. Any questions? No questions? Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Elick,
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin,
Aye.
Mr. Bax,
Yes.
Mr. Gebhardt,
Aye.
and Ms. Karstafen.
Abstain. Thank you. The motion carries. Alrighty, moving on. The next item would then be, as I turn my page, the personnel item actions, action items
Thank you.
recommended by the superintendent.
Thank you so much. Well, we have a kind of a big retirement. Greg Hall, he's been here 38 years. So we ask for you to approve his retirement.
Wow.
He was at Windsor, Franklin, and quite some time at McKinley in 4th grade. So he will
Wow.
truly be missed. We also ask for you to approve the unpaid leave of absence of the following classified staff, and to approve the appointment of the following EHS students as workers as part of the PAC. And that concludes my personnel action items.
Thank you. May I please have a motion to approve the personnel item action as recommended by the superintendent as presented?
Move to approve, Annie.
Thank you, Mr. Bax. May I please have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Elick. Any questions? No questions? Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Bax,
Yes.
Mr. Elick,
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt,
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin,
Aye.
and Ms. Karstafen.
Aye, thank you. Motion carries. Any other personnel items recommended by the superintendent tonight?
No other
Let's
personnel,
see.
but I'll go ahead with my short report, if
Alrighty.
you don't mind.
There you go.
First
Thank
of
you.
all, real quickly, on April 29th, which is a week from tomorrow, we will be offering a vaccination clinic for all Elyria High students that are 16 and older. So their parents are going to get a little link and can sign them up to be vaccinated right at the high school. So we're working with the health department on that next Thursday. Also, we want to congratulate all 9 teams at the state robotics tournament, but we did have a state champion team, and hopefully when we're in person, we can bring that middle school team in. But they all did very well and represented the Pioneers well. And then last but not least, I know you asked about graduation. As of right now, it is June 8th with a rain date either the 9th or 10th. And with the 40% rule that was just opened up, we are pretty confident we can have at least 4 tickets per graduate. And if it opens up any more, we'll re-look at the situation. But we're excited we're able to at least let them have 4 tickets per graduate. So we're excited about that. And that concludes my report.
Wonderful.
That'll be at the
That's a great
stadium?
report.
Yes,
That'll be at the stadium?
back. Yep, back like we've always done it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that report. Is there any Board of Education report tonight? Nothing? No executive session, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything else to come before this board tonight?
Annie, it's Howard. Can I bring up an
Yes.
issue?
Yes, thank you, Howard.
Just briefly, the board had heard previously about a request for a liquor license being made by the H&H Market in Delhi, which is right across the street from the Eastern Heights campus. And we had mentioned this last week briefly at the end of the meeting.
Yes.
If the board is interested in filing an objection to that application for a liquor permit, that objection needs to be filed prior to the end of the month. So, again, the board doesn't have a planned meeting before then. So we had talked last week about maybe addressing that this week. I don't know if the board has any questions. I had sent an email previously to the board members providing essentially the standard under which the objection would be considered. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but if you'd like for me to file that objection, I need to know so that I can file it prior to the end of the month.
Okay.
Did they already have a liquor license? Was there something else there that had a liquor license?
Well, I'm assuming that this was probably a change of ownership or something
Yeah.
like that. I'm not familiar with the market. I understand that at some point, historically, there was a liquor license there. I can't give you the dates, but I believe that previously there was liquor. Essentially, this is a request for a permit to sell beer and certain forms of liquor, all in their original. All right. And, again, I can't tell you the dates when that was. I can't give you the exact factual circumstances under which this permit request is being made. But as I had indicated in my previous emails to the board members, in order to be successful with an objection, we're going to have the burden to present evidence to essentially show one of 3 things. Either number one, that there is an oversaturation of such permits in the area. Number 2, that it would have a significant negative effect on the neighborhood, or more relevant to our concerns, that it would have a significant effect on our ability to operate the school. A simple objection that we don't think it's a good idea with the school across the street isn't going to be sufficient. You're going to have to come forward with more direct, specific evidence.
Does our superintendent have a recommendation?
Well, I talked at length with Howard at this. This shop actually goes back, and some of you may remember it. I think it was called Schaefer's back in the day when we were at school. But it was kind of a hangout place at that time for kids to go get candy and stuff after school, as I remember it. I never really knew it as a place, but we're talking about a very different time, a place that really sold like the cigarettes and the alcohol and liquor as much. So I'm not as familiar with it now, but what I will tell you is, in some of the other buildings, we have closer places that were pre-existing, before we built there. But I don't know that I've not ever had a report that that's a problem there. But, I never like to have places around that could potentially be a place for our students to hang when, there's booze and alcohol and cigarettes and all of that. So, as far as a recommendation go, my recommendation would be that I would prefer that not be there, but I don't know, listening to what Mr. Lane is saying, if it's always been there and it's not been a problem, I would love to see some data on that. And I know, Mr. Lane, you were trying to get some data.
Yeah, we had made a request for police reports. That hasn't come through yet. But I don't have that. If the board wants me to go forward with filing of the objection, I'm going to have to gather some evidence and do a little bit more investigation to get grounds to support the objection. I'm not sure that I'm going to find any, quite frankly.
Right.
Keep in mind, as I mentioned in my email, that there's an option to file essentially a pro forma objection for the record, where you'll go on the record stating that you're against it. But that form of an objection doesn't really have any legal effect on whether or not.
Yeah. My bigger concern actually would be if they had a record of selling to underage. There's a lot of stores in that area that kids could get, different items, but I would like to know if, yeah.
My guess, Ann, is if they had that kind of a record, they're not going to get a license anyways. So
Right.
I doubt very much there's that kind of evidence. I'll be honest with you, currently right now, I'm not aware of any evidence that I feel would support a successful objection to the permit. I could certainly look closer to see if I can find some. But at this point, if I was forced to make a recommendation, I would simply recommend that the board make a pro forma objection for the record, understanding that that's not going to stop the permit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, for the record, I think this governing board is against having anyone sell alcohol that close to one of our schools. But if that's being across the street isn't enough, I guess I'm okay with doing it pro forma for the record. Seems like they're still going to get it though, so.
Yeah, again, that's not going to really be considered. It's just going to go on the record so that the public will know that we were against it.
I think at least I would agree that we would be on the record as stating that we are, against them being that close to the school. But also, I live in that area, and I would say that I don't see a lot of traffic as of now in that area. And I drive by there usually twice a day. I don't see a lot of traffic there as of right now. Now that would very well change if they were granted the liquor permit. So, but I think we should be on record at least, as you're saying. So I definitely would agree with your recommendation and follow that. Yes.
Okay, I'm taking that as the consensus of the board, and I will act accordingly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions?
Nope.
All right.
Anyone else? Okay.
Howard,
Thank you.
you'll just get with me as far as, do we need to do anything, need signatures or anything?
I'll check out the form, Joy, and I'll get back to you if I need a signature. If I need a signature, if I can't, I think I can sign it as the attorney for the board, quite frankly.
Okay.
And that's what I'll do. If I need someone to sign it on behalf of the board, then I'll either arrange to get Annie's signature or yours.
All right.
Thank
Okay.
you very
Howard,
much.
I would assume that if the circumstances change and there is, selling to minors, we'd be able to readdress this issue, obviously.
We certainly would report that, and, if there's a sale to a minor, then that's going to jeopardize their liquor permit to begin with.
Right.
But yeah, we would certainly be able to contact the Ohio Department of Liquor Control and express our concerns and our desires for the permit to be pulled. Now, that's not to say that it would guarantee to be pulled, but yeah, we could communicate with the Department of Liquor Control afterwards.
Okay, great.
And I got a
Thank you.
question. Yeah, I got a question. Since would it be a hardship in the area if that store closed?
Well, probably that, Ann, sorry.
Which Ann are you referring to?
You, Annie Karstaffen.
Karstaffen. As I said, I don't see very much traffic there. And I think at one point it was closed. Was it not, Howard? I think you said it was under new management.
I said I'm guessing that it was under new management, but I don't know the exact circumstances. I did get a list from the internet from the Department of Liquor Control about the permits that have been issued in Elyria. And while I didn't map everything out, it didn't look to me from that list like there was going to be a successful argument for an oversaturation of permits in that immediate neighborhood.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh. All right.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else to come before the board tonight? If there be nothing else to come before this board tonight, I will entertain a motion to adjourn, Mr. Elliott.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Elliott. Could I please have a second?
Second.
Nobody wants a second? Second by Mrs. Sequin. Anything else? Nothing? Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Elick,
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin,
Aye.
Mr. Bax,
Yes.
Mr. Gebhardt,
Aye.
and Ms. Karstaffen.
Aye, thank you. Consider yourself adjourned. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. It is.